Hey, welcome guys back to the channel. We're going to try to figure a couple things out here. The question is, do you buy the pre-made brackets from the hardware store or do you make your own? And so is it cheaper? I think we all know the answer to that. The answer is going to be yes, but is it worth your time? That's going to be the big question. So what I'm going to try to do is kind of set up my workflow, you know, the welder, the bender, the cutting tools, the drill press, and have all that ready. And then we'll kind of time each step to make one bracket, and we'll decide if that's going to be worth it. And then once we build that one bracket from start to finish, we're going to compare that time versus the cost of what the steel costs and the consumables maybe, and then we're going to compare that to what this bracket costs. Now, we went down to the hardware store thinking, oh, you know, we're just going to go buy some shelving and buy some brackets, and we'll put up, you know, we got a bunch of shelving to put up in this place. I'd like to put some up here in this little kind of shop area, but that's a long way off. So we're talking about the house. And so the house has 3 closets that we need to put shelving in, laundry room, and also in the garage that's attached to the house. My wife wants a bunch of shelves by her toolbox. So we're talking like 50 of these brackets. So we thought, oh, we'll just go buy some brackets. Okay, cool. Yeah, So this bracket is about 15 inches long, and so they're about 10 inches high, I think. But these are $17.99 at our local hardware store, and we priced them at Lowe's and Home Depot's website. They're about $14. So, you know, that would add up to a lot times 50. That's a lot of money for brackets. So let's get after it. We're going to build one of these start to finish. We're going to time each section, and then we're going to look at the math and see if it's worth it. So my bracket, my total length of my bracket is 22.5 inches. I went 14 inches for these shorter shelves and 8.5 for the leg that goes against the wall. So we'll make a bend at 14 inches. We're going to cut it at 22.5. Now, as far as this bandsaw goes, or a chop saw, maybe you stack 3 of these together. You know, maybe I could stack 3 of these in line, mark them one time, drop the bandsaw on. It'd take a little longer, but it would drop 3 at a time, and then I could move it, drop 3 more, move it, drop 3 more, maybe 4, I don't know. With a chop saw, you could probably do the same thing. Clamp 3 in a row, go ahead and chop them. Okay, now if we bring our piece over here, I've already pre-drilled a piece with the holes pattern that I want to use. Okay, so there's 7 holes here, and we'll just double check the length there. Have kind of a longer Sharpie tip here, and it's in black, so we'll just go ahead and mark these. And this is going to be my blank for this whole project. I'm going to use this so I get consistent results. Not that they have to be the same. Nobody's going to notice or care. But basically, this is going to be my bend mark right there. I'm going to line those up, make sure they still line up. Bend mark, bend mark. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's go drill it. Now let's say, you know, you want to increase your productivity. Maybe you could clamp 2 or 3 of these together. You know, put a clamp on one end, maybe a clamp here, drill all the way through, and then move your clamps to the other side and drill over here too. And they don't have to be exact. I mean, this is not exact science. If one of them's off a little bit, no big deal. But maybe that would help speed you up as well. Okay, we've got 4 thick here. Got a couple clamps on. Hopefully that'll hold it. Might break my bit here. Might burn it up. We'll try to keep it lubed. See how it goes. Seem to work. They seem to be about the same width. So now this is a little easier when it's flat, but as far as these little things go, you know, you can use your flap disc to grind these off. You could even use a file, but these little burrs that build up right there, this seems to be pretty easy here. So we basically made this air-over hydraulic. This is the Harbor Freight air-over hydraulic. This is an upgrade to this press. Of course, if you have the manual press, it's just slower, but it'll do the job, right? This is the finger press brake from Swag Off-Road, and this is the brake here. These are the standard plates that come with the Harbor Freight press. This is just a foot pedal control that allows me just to hold two hands on my work and hit the foot pedal there. This is a crank here that has cables going down both sides that lift and lower the table. The table, of course, still has to sit on these pins, but I can put a link at the end if you're interested in this build. This thing really helps your productivity. Slide this in right down the middle. We'll come through that side, hit right there, and that pretty much lines up my line with the press brake. Now it's real easy to overdo this in the press brake so that you go past 90, but we need to go a little bit further, looks like. Yep. I'm going to use a thinner Sharpie just so my line's a little more precise. So this is the cutoff wheel that I nearly castrated myself with. In fact, these are the pants. My mother-in-law was kind enough to sew them up for me. She said, "I'm glad your accessories are okay," and she patched it up, and so I got my pants back. I did talk to Duluth Trading about reinforcing this area. They make reinforced knees, knee pads, of course. It'd be nice to have reinforced area here too. Okay, so, but I've got my work clamped, and that's the important thing. Got my eye protection on, my gloves on, and my hand still doesn't fit around this very well. I'm going to hold this super tight, kind of in opposite direction. Going to leave it clamped in here actually so we can use the flap disc and get it cleaned up. Also, we're just burnishing the edges here so that we get some mill scale off, so we get a nice clean edge there so that we can weld there easily. So this will be my jig right here. We'll go ahead and use this as a jig. I'll go ahead and cut off some more, and then we'll be in business. Okay, now can I weld it on both sides? Sure, but does it need it? I don't think so. So this is going to be plenty strong. Let's see how well it matches up the other one. Pretty close. And it's not, this one's a tiny bit longer there. The brackets are a little bit off at an angle. I think for the garage that's okay. Now that I have my little jig piece built, this piece right here, I'll have consistency in where I put them, and maybe I'll start marking how far down I start it. Because you can angle this a little bit and get a little bit off, as you can see. So I might just start doing that. I'd like it sticking out a little bit further here rather than having it steeper over here, I think. So I think I'll probably follow this pattern a little bit more. Maybe measure from there back to where I want to start welding it and just make a quick mark. Let's try a couple things now. Now that we've got this down, let's go ahead and build one from start to finish. The cutting, the drilling, and we're just going to go through and build one. All the way from start to finish, and just see how long it takes to build one now that all the tools are laid out where I need them. Okay, that'll work. Again, just welded one side. You can see how these aren't straight here, and my bandsaw is just a little bit crooked right here. So this was straight up and down, but when I put the square on this end, it was cocked just a little bit, so it was cutting a little bit crooked. So I just loosened this bolt, straightened it up, put my square there, got it straightened up, and now it's cutting straight again. So that was, I had to fix that. The other mistake was that I'm not squaring up my pieces that I'm putting in before I bend them. So some of them are off just a little bit, and you can see that they lean Like this one leans just a little bit this way, and I don't think that's going to be noticeable at all, but I can do better with that. I can square those up a little bit better in the press so that they break over evenly. Okay, got all 15 made. And so this is enough to do the garage, the little project in the garage that we want. I did these first 3 individually, kind of slow. Of course, I'm shooting a lot of video and kind of setting up my tools, working out the bugs. This run of 8 went pretty quick. You know, I did all the drilling, I did all the bending, I did all the welding, and so it went pretty quickly because I was just able to weld and weld and weld and weld and weld. So, and then these last 4 I did as a run as well. And so that went pretty quick as well. Okay. After 8 p.m. at night. I had to work on the tractor for a few hours, but I painted these this afternoon with 30-minute paint, 30-minute dry, and she elected not to paint the shells just because it's the garage. But this is all lumber that we found at the dump when we were dumping our trash one time. Somebody throwing a bunch of wood down. It was from a box of something that they were shipping something in, and yeah, so we scrounged it. We ended up spacing them together because these are only 11 and these are 5.5, so these are 16 long. The brackets are about 14, so maybe a little over 16. Oh, 16.5, that's what it is. So the brackets are just a little bit short. Seem to be nice and strong though. And she's already piling stuff on it, so I just got them up.